Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about how you can compare your company or team's performance to other companies like yours using Databox Benchmarks. To access benchmarks, just click on the benchmark tab on the left-hand side. And benchmarks are valuable because a lot of times you want to know things like, is my cost per click too high? Are we paying too much for ads or above average? Is my traffic as good as other SaaS companies, or could it stand to be improved? Is my close rate good? And benchmarks help you answer these questions and more. And so in short, benchmark data helps you see where you're ahead of the curve and where there's room to improve, and maybe you're behind the curve, so that you can quickly identify where you should focus your time. It's also valuable because you can prove the value of your efforts. So maybe you're presenting to the board, or maybe you're presenting marketing or sales performance, and you're able to say, look, we're outperforming, most companies like us. Our marketing, efforts are outperforming those. Our traffic is higher, or our ad cost is lower, whatever it may be. Is better than other companies like ours. So there's a lot of values. And one final value you can use benchmarks for is setting more realistic goals. So besides being able to quickly identify where you're behind the curve, and maybe there's low hanging fruit and some quick opportunities to improve, you can also use it to set goals and say, what are some growth goals that are realistic but achievable? And you can base those off of what the top quartile, or the top 25% of companies like yours are doing. So maybe you have traffic goals and you want to know what's realistic or what you could aspire to, and you can base it around some benchmark data. So Databox makes this super simple. Let's go ahead and actually look at one benchmark. So when you come to benchmarks, my benchmarks will explore any that you've pinned or saved here. We don't have any yet in this demo account, so let's go ahead and pick one. So we'll go to Benchmark Explorer. It defaults to one of the last metrics I had pulled up. So let's go ahead and look at sessions. We've been building dashboard with sessions and looking at it in other ways, so let's go ahead and look here. Now, what we can see here is that we are outperforming 71% of companies in the cohort, but there's no cohort specified yet. The cohort is specified on the right-hand side, so we'll cover that in just a minute. So let me explain what you're looking at a little bit here. What we have with this visual is the bottom quartile, which is the left-hand side where the color starts to come in. So that's the bottom 25%. Then where the color sort of drops off at the top, that's what the top 25% do. And then the median is, what is the middle doing? What is the average or the median performing at? So we can see that in this example, it's performing at the median of companies. The average gets, roughly 4.8 thousand sessions every month. These are the data period is for the month. And you can see how many contributors it pulled data from to get a rough idea of how many it's surveying. So in this case, out of 9,000 companies, the median get 4.8 thousand sessions a month. We are doing quite well at 15.9 thousand sessions a month. And so you can see where you're placed along this. Now, this is just for 9,000 companies, right? But maybe we want to compare ourselves to B2B or to SaaS or something like that. So we can select an industry here. We could scroll down and browse these different industries, or we could do business type. So in my case, maybe I want to do B2B. And I don't really necessarily want to compare myself against like enterprise or things like that. So let's go ahead and take the employee size down to, let's go up to 1,000. And then let's just let the revenue be what it is, but we'll keep the employee size at 1,000. We'll hit apply changes. And now it's going to apply my cohort changes and narrow down to companies that meet these cohort parameters. Okay, so the benchmark has loaded, and you can see that we've got our cohort selected of B2B. We're looking at only employee sizes of 1 to 1,000. We don't want to go any higher than that because we're trying to sort of filter out big enterprise companies. And now we can see that it's changed. Now, instead of 9,000 some companies, now we're looking at just over 1,300 contributors. So we've narrowed it down quite a bit, and we can still see, we get an estimate here of what we're outperforming. So in my case, I'm outperforming 98% of the companies in the cohort. We're far above the top quartile. And now we can see the median has changed. The median is 5.2 thousand. So we can get a rough look at this, and this allows us to see just at a glance how we're performing compared to companies like ours. We could go back and filter down by industry. We could narrow down by revenue and really refine the cohort as much as we wanted to. But as you can see, this would be really valuable because This will give you at a glance a quick idea of how am I performing compared to other companies like me. So let's say, for example, I was doing just over 2,000 sessions a month. If I know that I'm below the median, then I know that I probably have some room to grow, and maybe this is an area I could focus on. Whereas, if we're way above the median or in the top quartile, maybe around 17,000 sessions a month, then maybe we don't worry about growing that area as much, and we look for another area, where maybe we're underperforming. So for example, we could come here and drop down and choose close rate or something like that, or the number of deals that we're getting. And we could explore this from a variety of ways and see where it is that we're underperforming so we could focus on improving. We could see where we're outperforming, and maybe that's our unfair sort of competitive advantage, and we're going to double down there, like maybe sessions for us. And in Databox's case, indeed, it's the case that our organic efforts are a huge advantage for us with SEO. So we're going to, double down there. It also allows us to set goals based around this. So, maybe if I was a little bit lower, maybe around 3,000 or so, I might set 5.2 thousand as an aggressive but realistic goal, because that's what the median of companies like me are doing. So I know that I'm not sort of picking an arbitrary number out of thin air. I'm picking it from what the median's doing or from what the top quartile is doing. So this is benchmarks in a nutshell. If we want to track this benchmark over time, we can go ahead and click add to benchmarks. And then when we come to my benchmarks here, we can see this, and we'll be able to view details and track it over time.